Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I'm Hina Gambhir. Let's discuss NDA government's mission jobs. 10 lakh jobs in 18 months. That's right. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has ordered recruitment of 10 lakh people in the next 1.5 years in various departments and ministries in the government. Joining us on Urban Debate tonight is Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, National Vice Chairman, NADEGO, co-founder and MD, Hiranandani Group. Dr. Hiranandani, how will you like to react to this mission mode that the government seems to be in as far as the job creation in the country is concerned?
Very, very positive. I think it's a very good move. They're talking about 15 lakh jobs which are not filled. I'm concerned with education. I know that in the colleges and schools where we are concerned with, there are more than 65,000 jobs which are not filled in, which means teaching and schools and colleges do not have teachers, non-teaching staff, principals, vice principals. They don't have that job, 65,000 through the country. It's a huge number. If we are going to make a step in that direction, that's a beginning. But this is across the board. We don't have adequate number of judges. Bombay High Court is deficient by 40% of its judges in the High Court of Mumbai, Bombay High Court. Look at I'm not even talking about the lower courts and others where, you're required to fulfill. So I think it's a wonderful move, and I think we must compliment the Honorable Prime Minister to do it. But again, the most important thing is that it's not only the government jobs that become important. The economy has to be made to grow. And I think this entire mission mode just now to cool down the economy in terms of what the RBI governor is doing by increasing interest rates and others needs to be little looked into again. Is it going to slow down the economy? But on the other hand, the fiscal intervention by the government for the purposes of reducing GST, petrol costs, diesel costs, and other fuel costs, I think will be helpful. So I think a lot more needs to be done for the general economy in order to get the jobs. I'm fully aware that thing. But I do compliment the Prime Minister for the 10 lakh jobs that he wants to fill in for the next 18 months. We are looking forward that at least this will be done. But it has to be such jobs which are going to be of service to the country and to do it. Like, for example, I gave you about teachers and other people and all. We don't want just jobs to be filled in which gives employment but no output. So I think that aspect of it has to be seen by the government, that it is also not only job-oriented but output-oriented.
It should be output-oriented. Very important point you've raised. Dr. Hiranandani, is this something the government is doing because maybe private sector could not create enough number of jobs? I'm not going into the reasons here. We know it was a once-in-a-century pandemic that impacted each one of us. But do you think that's the message that's being sent?
No, I don't think so. I think the job vacancies are quite apparent as far as government is concerned. But I think there are two flag-offs that I would like to point out at this point of time. Of course, I've agreed with all my co-panelists. They made wonderful statement. But I'd like to take 2 points. Point number one, the government should find out that out of 15 lakh points, what are the productive areas and non-productive areas? So what should be done is that there should be a prioritization for those areas which are productive, like we talked about schools, like hospitals, like police, like judiciary, higher and lower, and what needs to be done. So instead of saying that we are going to do 1 million jobs, I would rather say 1 million, maybe 500,000 or 7.5 lakh productive jobs as a first instance. That's the first flag off that I think is important for government to do, so that this prioritization should be such that you don't only take peons and drivers, etc. So that's one. Second point I want to talk about is the private sector. Let's take construction industry, of which I am a part. When I want to recruit 100 people for non-skilled labor, I get 1,000. But if I want a plumber, an electrician, a mason, a carpenter, a fitter. If I want 100, I get only 10 to 15. So it's not only the fact that we do it, we are not able to get skilled people at all. The skilling process that we have started is way back. Way back means way, way, way back. While construction is going up, the industry has gone up, road sector is being done, our entire skilling process is way behind. So we need to speed up that so that the people who are required for skilling in the private sector do it. We run some skilling courses. The other time, we skilled some, the lowest category. We did some gas welders. People were getting salaries of 4,000 and 5,000 as unskilled workmen. Today, they are getting 30,000 plus once they're skilled for 4 months. So, you know, it's not only the private sector saying that jobs are a begging, but it's there. But the third point which you made, and I fully agree with you, Hina, the economy is still in the back foot and it will take some time to catch up. But that is not really only the fault of the private sector. The private sector is also affected by the Ukraine war. It is also affected by the general inflation story. The prices of cement, steel, etc. have gone through the roof. And all these factors. So the private sector, of course, has a responsibility of growth, and we are all into it, and correctly so, and rightly so, as pointed by you too. But government work, fantastic. We need to prioritization in the government sector. Please don't only fill up 1 million of non-productive jobs and say we have given jobs. That's a real waste of public money that is going to go down the drain rather than just talk about giving employment numbers. That would be ridiculous. And I would oppose it completely. But on the whole, the idea is correct. We need to filter these ideas and then get into implementation. These are 2 or 3 flag-offs which I think are important when we talk about the recruitment drive, HRD ministry, and I'm very much for skilling. Education in skilling has to be further improved, notched up 1,000 times more.
Interesting. The promise earlier was of 2 crore jobs, something that the opposition keeps on reminding the government again and again. And what we have got today is 10 lakh jobs are going to be created by the end of December 2023. Actually, 10 lakh vacancies are going to be filled, if I may say it like that.
Okay. The issue is very clear that whether we look at the economy in terms of an external intervention, which has taken place just now, where I think the government really doesn't have too much control over it. But as a long-term strategy, which Mr. Mehrotra just mentioned about, I think is a very critical factor. Not only industrial strategy, it's an overall HRD issues and employment strategy that needs to be done, because agriculture is definitely an underemployment area. And more people need to shift out of it. So we have to look at the sectors which really take employment. I'm only into one of those sectors, so I can tell you, we can really grow the number of people who can be employed in the construction real estate sector. We could probably absorb 1 crore of jobs easily every year, but not the unskilled ones. We need the skilled ones, and we are grossly deficient. Now, we can identify so many other sectors in this matter also, which are going to be productive-oriented part of it. This kind of movement that needs to be done and done by government, private sector, we can do it in F.C.A, CII, ASSOCHAM, all these institutions, we can sit together and really do what we need to do. So all in all, we need to take a humongous effort, a war kind of effort. Like we did the Green Revolution, we need to do an employment revolution and say labor intensive. See, up till now, when we talk about GDP growth, we talk about capital investment. That could be not necessarily employment oriented. So we need to also see how do we do it. And the last but not the least, very important, the services sector is growing. So I think the emphasis on the services sector also needs to be taken up in a bigger way. So we need a wartime effort. The private sector must participate. Government sectors need to encourage it. And the education sector is very responsible, and we need to push it to the core. Not only the IITs and IIMs, but the skilling at the lowest level, it becomes very, very critical in the mass employment that we need to do today.
Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on Urban Debate on this very, very important issue today. Some interesting suggestions have come. Thank you for the moment for joining us.